Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙤. Today, Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar, retired, is joining us to weigh in on our worthy neighbors, first Pakistan and then China. And from what I'm hearing, and I would like General to agree with me or disagree with me, and we will have a healthy discussion about that, is that looks like the establishment, which is what they call their general, their army itself, is now split in two parts. Is that true? What is really going on? Because I did not expect Imran to hang along for this long, and he still managed to, hang in there. So to get all these answers, let's welcome General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Namaskar and thank you.
General
It's a
Ravi
pleasure
Shankar,
to be back here.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. And viewers, if you have any questions about these two topics today, please feel free to send it to us. We're going to have an unlimited length session today because this is important. You're going to hear things that you probably have not heard on any other channel. First off, General Ravi Shankar, my impression about Pakistan is it's an army with a country.
There's no doubt at all on that. No argument on that.
So
Okay.
how do you see the fact that Imran Khan is still able to hang around when his predecessors have not been so lucky? Is there a split inside the establishment, sir?
See, I'll put it this way. So far, he's hung along because of the establishment. Now that he's fallen out of the establishment, and that this has been going on for the past 5-6 months. So he's being shown a way out, and this was on the cards for the past 5-6 months. And if you read their news and media and all that,
Right.
But what is interesting is, for the first time, there is I won't say a split within the establishment. There is some dichotomies which are quite emerging out of the establishment. All this comes around to the appointment of the DGISI and Mr. General Faiz, who was now the Peshawar Corps Commander, who was supposed to be extended, and all the trackers that they were not consulted. Imran Khan was not consulted for his replacement, XYZ. Very clearly, Imran Khan wanted to prop up General Faiz and probably make him the next chief. That's the thing. And there's a big lot who back, or rather the majority back the current chief to put Faiz in his place. All right. So that is some kind of I won't call it a split, but there is a issue. Okay. That's one. So that means this has come out in the open. This is the first time in their entire history which has really come out in the open in the way it has come out. The second thing, hitherto Pakistan army was not it was apart from the politics, day-to-day politics. Today, it has been sucked into day-to-day politics by Imran Khan, their own protege, who's made that famous remark, only animals will not take any side and all that, right? And then the way things have gone, the way he's bowled his in-swingers, right? So army is now fully into the politics. Now it is very clear that the army is supporting the opposition, so-called opposition, which is a combination of PML and PPP and Fazlur Rahman's party, all that. So there is the situation is quite terrific flux. Anytime now the JP of Pakistan was to announce what is the future of this parliament, he's already said that whatever the speaker said is not correct, or rather not legal. So let's see where it goes.
Well, the way in which the machinations have been happening, and see, if you look at what happened during Benazir Bhutto's time, or even before that, her father, it was fairly clear that once the establishment makes up its mind, the person is more or less taken out of the picture. Whereas Imran Khan has been able to hang around for a while. Not only that, he has been able to take pot shots at this so-called opposition. He calls them three stooges, cherry blossom, whatever you. My point to say all these things, General Ravi Shankar, is Imran Khan is a relatively new person in politics. So in politics, in the world now, not just in India, in the world, you need money. If you don't have money, you cannot sustain for long. And yet, Imran Khan is able to somehow land his punches, weak or strong, we don't know. Who do you think is financially backing Imran Khan?
Look, there are many ways. Let's start from the basics.
Yeah,
If you look at the opposition, they're quite faceless at this point of time. There's no charismatic leader on ground who can handle Imran Khan. Imran Khan has got charisma at the end of the day, right? He's won the World Cup and he's got some popularity. He might not win the elections. I don't know that. I mean, that's up to Pakistan to do. Okay. Now, the way things are, he's, you know, he's been a great proponent of China. He's also gone to Russia, right? Plus the fact they've been in power for 3 years. He would have stashed away enough money. So, and there are allegations of corruption coming against him. So let's not talk of who's backing him. I think he can back himself the way I look at it, right? And I don't think money is his real issue. But I mean, let's see how it moves.
all right, sir.
But
And now, yeah, go ahead, sir.
but I'm not interested in who comes into power in Pakistan. Let me be very honest. It doesn't matter who comes into power in Pakistan, but there are certain fundamentals, uh, right? There are certain fundamentals that going to happen. I mean, I just see someone has said that the CJP has announced that the thing is in favor of the opposition. Fine, let's see what comes. Whatever government comes into play now, it will be unstable. If they go into elections, the game is open because Imran Khan has already taken it to the streets. He's still got he's still got a majority. I mean, I wouldn't say majority. He's still got a sizable
Following.
number of people. Yeah, no, not following. Even if this parliament comes back, he's got enough members with him. He's already got 160 odd members. He's the biggest party still. That doesn't go on anywhere. So he'll create problems for the party. That will be, if there are elections, he's got a good chance. He'll still come back with this thing. And once elections are on, everyone will bicker like everyone. Everyone wants his share. So there is going to be instability in Pakistan for quite some time. I mean, that you'll agree with me?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So if there's going to be instability in Pakistan, there are going to be spillovers. Okay. Apart from the instability, there is going to be economic problems. They're already in economic problems. It's not exactly an Einstein's call or Newton, discovering gravity with the apple falling in his head. Economy is in a bad shape. Look at their security situation. Their entire Western belt is in problems. Okay. With this kind of a political, the clutch of the political gear, Taliban is on a loose string. They'll do what they want. What happens to the CPC in this chaos? Now the army has to step in. I mean, it's chaotic. The CP is in a problem. So if you see all this, they are in a pretty bad shape overall. What can they do to India? Okay, there's another thing. The chief in that Islamabad dialogue came out and said, look, we want to reset ties with US. He's made one statement. Russia has made a statement for Imran Khan. China has kept quiet. But the thing is, they don't know which way to go. Their stakes are high. So whichever way you look at it, Pakistan is internalizing. I mean, they don't have time for anything external. Maximum they'll put some terrorists into JNK and things like that. So they have no time but to internalize. And if they can't internalize, they have to look west. Right? So that's a good thing for India. I've always maintained a Pakistan which looks inward gives you the best security. Why am I saying this? You look at India, our situation, Pakistan is in turmoil, Myanmar is already in turmoil, Sri Lanka is in a different tailspin, so your regional thing is tough. You will have spillovers. The global situation, Ukraine, and all that, we are doing a tightrope walk as it is. But you have opportunities as much as challenges. Pakistan looking inward continually gives you an opportunity to handle those challenges better. Right? Externally, Pakistan is in the doggos for everyone. Right? Whether they have a geography or a biography or I don't know what Pakistan has, they can have anything. They are not able to buy helicopters from Turkey or submarines from Germany because the West has very clearly said we will not give engines, we will not give XYZ, they're in a problem. The Chinese weaponry which they have are having problems from news reports. And not only that, those Chinese weaponry which have been given to Bangladesh or Myanmar are also in problems. So, and if you read through, if you look between the lines of what the Chief of Army Staff said in that Islamabad dialogue, their reset towards USA also means a drift away from China. So that puts China on a limb. They've got investments there. They've got their two-ocean theory of becoming a superpower by reaching Gwadar is in a limbo. Afghanistan is in a limbo. If Afghanistan is in a limbo, it hits them in Xinjiang and terrorism through that. I mean, you look at it holistically, they are in probably the worst case situation. Everyone is looking at Ukraine. Pakistan has no time for it. They're only looking inward, which is actually a good situation for us. What do we have to do? Nothing. Just keep quiet and let them do what we want. We can discuss all this. It's good to talk. But from my side, golden opportunity. We shouldn't miss it. So this is something which if people have questions, I'll take on. If you have anything else, to any other issue you want me to, we can dilate on it.
Yes, indeed. And we will pick it up a little bit later, General Ravi
Right.
Shankar. And now let's talk about, see, this is a continuation of the last conversation we had with General Ravi Shankar, where he had mentioned, mota, I'm going to say this, sir, and you can correct me if I miss
no
anything.
problems.
So, India is on a path for Atmanirbharta, self-sufficiency in arms requirements, production management, every little thing that has to do with it. And people asked a very good question. They said, look, if General Ravi Shankar says that that can be achieved in 10 to 15 years, China is not exactly keeping quiet. They are also advancing. So, what is the great leap forward that India has to do in order to be ready with what China would also have achieved in the 15 years? So, take it away, sir.
Thank you. First and foremost, we don't need to do any great leap forward. Zero. We have to progress as per our thinking and our doctrine and our Atmanirbharta. Let China do what it wants. We need to keep track of it. Right. People will say, what is this general talking of? What has happened in Ukraine? What is Ukraine army? What is Russian army? 40 days of war. Ukraine has not given up. I made this statement earlier, I make this statement today. Economies do not fight wars. Gross national product does not fight wars. Militaries do. Wars are fought on terrain. They're not fought in thin air. They're not fought in books. They're not fought by academics who compare China has this and India has this. So China should win. It doesn't happen that way. Okay, don't believe me, but ask Ukrainians, ask the Russians. So when you do a net analysis, irrespective of what China can do, okay, we will do well enough to handle them. One, the differential between Ukraine and Russia is huge. They are non-nuclear entities, or rather, there's a asymmetry. A nuclear nation is a non-nuclear nation. So in that scenario, Russia could do whatever it wants with Ukraine. Unfortunately, China can't do that with us. Second, we've all heard the Western press, and I agree with that also, that the Russian soldiers have been demotivated. They're all conscripts. They have not fought well. They lack training, X, Y, Z. So, to a large extent, the Russian bubble of being a great military has been burst against almost no military of Ukraine. Don't you think something similar will happen with China? It happened. It's already happened. We burst that myth when we made them backtrack 8 kilometers in eastern Ladakh. People tend to have a short memory. Right. Now, this question which you asked me is correct. In whatever we progress in 10 years, they'll progress also in 10 years and grow to some other level. Correct. But we will also, okay, that is on the equipment part. What about the Himalayan terrain, where we have 35 years of experience? How do you breed that? They don't know that. That is coming out very clearly. In 10 years, where will we be and where will they be in Himalayan terrain? It's not a matter of how many tents they have, how many guns they have. It's the experience you have. So this is it's not even a comparison of apple versus apples and apples versus oranges. Fighting is totally different. And that is the biggest lesson we have to take from Ukraine. Right. Let's leave India, China out of the equation. Today, China has problems of even crossing Taiwan, getting onto Taiwan. Taiwan has started preparing the Ukraine way. Let me assure you that it will be very difficult for China to jump across the Taiwan Straits, 200 kilometers, and get onto Taiwan and capture Taiwan. An amphibious operation of this scale will be the biggest after Normandy operations of last century. It's not easy. No one has done it. So if you think that China has the capability to do it, hats off to them. They have not done anything. Their navy is nascent. They don't have an experienced navy. Right? Then the fact is that China is risk-free. They'll go in only if there is no, if they're assured of victory. Otherwise, they'll not go in. Because if they go in and they buy casualties or it's a stalemate, Xi Jinping or whoever the Chinese Communist Party is at risk. Right. Now, let's also forget that. Have you noticed in the past 3 months, earlier, there was a lot of intimidation by China with, their aircraft going across the Taiwan Straits and violating the ADIZ of Taiwan. Intimidating 50, 70 aircraft going, all that. It used to come every second day in the news. Have we heard it for the past 2 months, 3 months? Why? What happens if Taiwan shoots one aircraft down? Where will China go? Remember, Shanghai is locked down today. If you see the reports on the South China Morning Post for the past 1 week, 10 days, Shanghai is going back to worst. Jilin, their major corn-producing province, lockdown. The crop is down. There's food security issues. And mind you, this is not my imagination. Please open South China Morning Post, which is the most conservative newspaper coming out of China, and read. These are headlines there. I'm not saying anything. Okay, their economy is hit. Their freights are hit. They are worried about decoupling. Targeted decoupling is the word they are using. Their GDP they are revising. I mean, if you have to analyze all this and see what's happening in Taiwan, and then they'll take on India. If they had to take on India the way we are thinking they will take on India, why did Mr. Bhawangi come here? He hot-footed it here for the first time. He was not. It didn't matter whether he got a reception or not, but he came here. Vulnerability. Let's not look at China. China is a great nation, no issue. I have no. It's the second largest economy, no doubt. Strongest navy, progressing to be, no doubt. It's got vulnerabilities too, right? So I'm very confident if you look at the thing. And also remember, why have so many people come to India? Russian foreign minister, deputy NSA from US, he made some nasty remarks, which is being now they are doing the papering over at Washington, undoing the damage. The German NSA comes, the British foreign secretary comes, the Japanese prime minister comes. There is a free trade agreement between Australia and India signed. What is it? There is something happening. And if China dares come anywhere near India with hostile intent, bye-bye China. And that fellow is wooing you to join the Russia-China axis. So let's be realistic. I don't think this will, we have to understand that from the end. I mean, I'm sorry, I've spoken so lot, but it demands this kind of an explanation. If you conflate the pandemic with the Ukraine war and the way we have recovered out of the pandemic and the way our economy is growing, we are talking of a different India here on. I'm not saying we're going to not have problems. We'll have problems. We'll have inequality. We'll have poverty. We'll have ethnic problems. We'll have all 100 problems which we've already had for the past 75 years. But there's a different story coming ahead. So we have to look at all these on those metrics. Take it on, sir.
Thank you so much. 3 or 4 questions, sir. I'll ask them one at a time. Let's first take a look at Wang Yi, and I would like you to read between the lines. It doesn't have to be accurate. We are analyzing a certain meeting. We don't have to be 100% accurate. And I always tell my viewers, don't take our word as gospel truth, but we are trying to analyze. So somebody comes on his own, and then instead of meeting the external affairs minister, he first meets with India's national security advisor. To me, that itself is significant, General Ravi Shankar. And I believe, and I'm going to tell you 3 things that were discussed, and then you can agree with me, disagree with me, or agree, disagree, whatever. I want to set the context here. First thing he said was, nothing to talk, get out of the places that you've occupied. Second thing he said was, we know you are arming Pakistan with drones. We are aware of it. Do whatever you want. The third thing, which is the more important thing, is you took a general from Myanmar to go to Pakistan, and then now you are going to supply Myanmar with arms through Pakistan as if it is not yours. We know about that too. These are the 3 things I was told that happened in the NSA meeting. There was a 3-hour meeting between MEAs. I don't know what happened there, but this basically set the context for the rest of the day. How do you see that meeting, sir?
Look, I am not aware what they spoke, but this much I know, he was shooed away. He came with an agenda, and he was told, thank you, please go back, vacate the border, and then we'll start talking of that. Till that happens, nothing is going to happen. You don't have to meet our PM. The chances of our PM coming to the BRICS is a later day story. And actually, if you listen to the External Affairs Minister's statement, immediately press statement after the visit finished, or after the meeting finished, amply clear that the Chinese were told, thank you. Rather, no thank you. Right? And he went back empty-handed. Just expose it with the VIP treatment which the Russian foreign minister got. Lavrov.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He got everything. He was meant the prime minister, and that's where it is. Yeah, how do we handle this problem of the Russia-China axis developing A, B, C? It's a little story. Let things evolve. So
Certainly, you said about the way the Ukraine war has turned out, it should give pause to anybody thinking that they can expand their army or their land. Now, a couple of other experts have told me, General Ravi Shankar, that China has a lot of land mass. It is not land that they are after when they attack India. It is something else. It is more like we can do whatever we want with you. Now, you mentioned that the Himalayas are not going to change no matter how many years. I give you that. My concern is to the east of the Himalayas, where we get into the plains, whether it is Arunachal Pradesh area or Bhutan area. If they
yeah,
want to come in there to assert themselves, how do you see India's preparations for that?
look, I don't think they're plains. There are also mountains. They're
Hmm.
also high altitude. The entire border is in high altitude, except the last portion at Kibitu, which is in low altitude. That's also at 6,000 feet height and full of mountains. So let's not have this misconception that east is plains. Sorry, they're all mountains, right? And as far as it's mountains, they are in a disadvantage. Let's be that on that. I'm very clear. The gone are the days when they can think of doing what they wanted to do, because in this, see, we have to understand that we put also mirrored their deployment across, and we put two divisions there. If they come somewhere, we'll go in somewhere. That I think we will. You will see if they do. See, there are other thing which again we must, we shouldn't talk in air, thin air. No, we should talk facts. Like I said, the number of air defense, or rather air violations over the Taiwan have
Taiwan.
reduced. So have petrol violations along the LAC for the past 1 year. Have you seen it in the newspapers? At one not, yes. Earlier, it used to come every second week, third month, fourth month, one violation, and border meeting, this meeting, that meeting. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. I don't see news. Look, there might be some violations on that is intrinsic, but none of these violations for the past 6 months at least have been severe enough to be reported. Doesn't it tell a story?
No, it does. It does.
So
I
why
was.
so why? I mean, I can understand that you by asking this question you're driving home a point. That's fine, but at the same time I'm not going to be cocky that we can handle China with ease. We have to be careful. We have to be motivated. We have to be well trained. We have to be well equipped, and take all due precautions and all due diligence to hold our own. We have the confidence to do so, and I think we are on the right track to do so. Right? It- You also have to understand that, and this is something which is the thought process in the strategic community in India. What has happened in the past 2 years, ever since Eastern Ladakh? There's a word called strategic confidence, which I've been hearing when people talk, that India has got strategic confidence. Before that, we were not that confident of having to deal head on with China. The first time we did it was in Doklam. When we did it, what we did in Doklam and stopped the Chinese from overlooking into our territory, there was a lot of apprehension with people. Oh, we've done this. What will happen next? So what happened next was Eastern Ladakh, where we gave them what we had to give them. Yeah, I understand that Depsang and this and all, they're still holding on. That's under negotiation. It's not a closed case. But all this has given you strategic confidence. That's important. Right. There is another issue which I must tell. It's nothing to do with the military. Just think today in Sri Lanka, there's a great anti China wave going on. Pakistan has shown inklings of being not of regretting going with China. I mean, it's implicit, it's there. Okay. Myanmar is wary. Nepal is trying to wean away from China. In fact, I read an article from the Kathmandu Post which said Oh, there are a lot of MOUs and announcements about China, but nothing moves on ground. Whereas Nepal has taken that grant and aid from US, despite the fact Mr. Yangi going to Nepal to say
Nepal.
don't
Yeah.
do it. So there's a shift. China is not as strong as it was 1 year back or 2 years back. And I also said the internal factors are playing up in China. Their businesses are not doing well. They've got, you know, population. In fact, every second, third day, there's an article on population. Divorces, babies going down, you know, no marriages, aging. So they have their hands full. We have to look at China holistically.
Last question, sir. We had a most interesting conversation thus far. About we are 30 minutes into our conversation. Last question,
Okay.
sir. India allowed Tibet to form a government in exile, and it has been doing well. It's been able to stand on its own. I mean, I'm saying this very, very
Yeah,
carefully,
yeah.
weighing my words here, because Tibet is making its presence felt in the country that matters the most today, that is the United States. They are doing a fair amount of visibility here. Now, does India have a plan to do the same for Balochistan?
Well, really speaking, I don't know. And I wouldn't like to comment on that. I know we are doing our best to Tibet. In fact, I just read in the newspaper that we are giving them a budget for this year, like every year. In fact, there's a little like extra also. I've not come across any where that we are funding anything about Balochistan, right? Uh, so I really can't comment on that with any sense of authority, right? Are, are we doing it? Maybe. I would. If I were in the government's place, I would definitely, right? So, but I really don't know the actual thing. I really can't comment with
Fair
any
enough,
sense of
sir.
authority.
Fair enough. And viewers, let's have some questions now. Santosh Kumar wants to know, General Sir, your thoughts about the counterintelligence by India to counter cyber and non-conventional attacks from China. Is our nation ready now?
Okay. First and foremost, what has Ukraine war again taught you? The Ukraine war has taught you that cyber and non-conventional attacks are just pinpricks. If you notice, and mind you, this is again not my assessment. I mean, this was my conviction. It was never my assessment. It was my conviction that cyber and non-conventional attacks have no value in actual thing. They only pinprick value. But I read this in the New York Times, the holy grail of a lot of people thinking. I've heard this, I've seen this analysis by the Western military analysts. Cyber attacks have only limited value. This non-conventional attack, what is a non-conventional attack? I mean, we have to define what is this non-conventional attack. They are all pinpricks. In peacetime, all these assume larger than life importance. You've seen this in war, all brushed aside. What mattered was firepower, air power, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, politics, energy, hard stuff, right? Soft things remain soft. Even information, overplayed. It's now become a double-edged sword which is cutting back on the West. Right? Today I and mind you, it's when I say a lot of my friends across the spectrum, I ask them, hey, what's happening? Have you seen the BBC or what? No, yeah, same thing happens. Same thing comes. The same propaganda which we can't believe. So information also has lost its sheen after the 1 month of this war. So we should be very clear. Uh, you know, not to make these larger than life.
Next question from SRDR. With China rapidly modernizing Pakistan defense, how can we match up if there were a two-front battle? Our procurement process is lengthy and in shambles.
Well, look, these are the myths which are there. That's what I said. Please go back. This must be on YouTube or somewhere. It must be there on Twitter or anything. The Pakistan Army chief talk during the Islamabad dialogue. He is resetting ties with USA. He is seeking weaponry from the West. They went to Turkey to get helicopters. They didn't get it because the USA stopped them from being given. They went to Germany to get submarines. Again, Germany didn't give them anything. So from there, they're slowly getting isolated. And mind you, again, this is not my hearsay. This is from the mouth of the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan. Now, implicit in that is, why didn't you go to China? If this is right, rapidly modernizing Pakistan defense, he should have taken. You're not getting it. And what he's got might not work. Again, these are reports coming out that there are problems with the tanks they've got, there are problems with the aircraft they've got in Pakistan. Chinese submarine given to some, I think, Myanmar or Bangladesh doesn't work. Half their equipment doesn't work. So what two-front war are we talking of? Look, two-front war is also a worst-case option. What is the history? What is the history? The history is that it's never happened. Whenever Pakistan was in trouble, China never came to their help. When China was this thing, Pakistan never did it. You'll be surprised. Year before last, when Eastern Ladakh was at full steam, and we were looking also towards Pakistan to see will something happen or not and all that. I remember an article in Dawn, which is, why should we go to China help? They didn't help us, and there are no free lunches. So we shouldn't imagine that there's going to be a two-front war happening. It could happen. We should prepare for it. Okay. Then you must also say our procurement process is lengthy as in shambles. Just today, our defense minister has released the third list of 101 items for which we have to be Atmanirbhar. So 100 plus 100 plus 100, 300 items, and they're pretty big items if you have a look at it. So let's not underplay ourselves. Okay. Let's not. And you're looking at a guy who's indigenized artillery 10 years before all this is, which is going on now. I'm sure that all my successors are better than me. When I say successors, the successors in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the MOD. They would definitely be dissecting what all we've done. Let's have faith. I should have faith in my next generation. If I, in 10 years, could indigenize artillery, make up our ammunition definitely. When I say artillery, and a whole lot of people, it's not a one-man thing. It took us about 5 director generals in succession to get this thing going. We did it. When Atmanirbhar was not even a mantra. So why will not our next generation do? I have faith, right? And let's not give up.
Global Office 2.0 wants to know, I feel either Pakistani army wants to have Imran 2.0 again, since 10 years was their original plan, or the army will take over the reins. Your thoughts, sir?
Oh, well, anything about Pakistan is unpredictable at this point of time. The only thing which is predictable about Pakistan is that it's going to be unpredictable. Right? Like I told you in the beginning, there is a seeming rift in the Pakistan army, or rather the fault lines in the Pakistan army which have come out. The politics has gone haywire. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in this thing. Like I said, whether whatever they do, how am I bothered? Let them keep being in their muck. I see a clear window of at least 1 year when Pakistan will be in a mess. Okay, if 1 year it's in a mess, it might not come out because economically it will go beyond redemption. Okay, it's like junk bonds. So let it go there, and then we'll be happy. Yeah.
Next question from Santosh Kumar. The last three questions, viewers. Sorry.
We have no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll go. But let's limit it because I'm always conscious to not go beyond 1 hour for a program.
Okay.
This is because when somebody else comes afterwards, they look at the time and they make the decision: should we listen to the good general or not? I want everyone to listen to good general. Santosh Kumar wants to know: is a malware attack from China only related to electricity and telecom, or our military assets are also under threat?
See, our military assets are quite shielded away from these malware, shareware, and all that. And we made a conscious decision not to use Chinese items in our in the defense systems. Okay. Why now? 8 years back, I had to give a certificate for every acquisition that there's no Chinese item in this. Right? In fact, we got into a problem. Let me give you two. Intel chips are made in China. So we had to devise a lot of things to get away from Intel chips, right? Or ensure that they didn't have Chinese, malware in it. And we had to devise a lot of, and not now, 5 years back. So things are even more tougher now. Look, some amount of malware attack they will do because Huawei and ZTV have been active here giving hardware, cheap hardware to many of our things. And this is, a lot of our Chinese hardware is there in our electricity and telecom systems already. You can't eject it overnight. You will live with it. We'll see how to do this. But for military assets, we really don't have a problem. They're shielded assets. They're standalone.
Girinath Paranjoti wants to know, sir, why does Pak General want peace with India? Does this mean they are ready to stop terrorism?
No, nothing like that. They don't want to stop anything. They want peace with India. They want peace with India so they can handle Afghanistan. They can handle their internal problems. If at this point of time we start fingering them, Pakistan will have more problems. And if Pakistan has more problems, their pockets will not get lined. After all, look, Pakistan really wants peace. The Pakistan army wants really peace. Why? Because these chaps are no more generals. They're all businessmen making money, running Papa John's in USA,
United States.
yeah, and having ranches in Australia, and huge houses in that Palm Jumeirah in UAE and all that. So they are not there, just skimming Pakistan off. Okay. So they'll want peace. Believe you me.
Next question from AK. Sir, how do you assess the performance of Russian weapons and technology in Ukraine?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think the performance of the Russian weapons and technology are proven. How they've been used is a different thing. And what's interesting is this weapons and technology have been used both sides. The same. Almost identical weapons have been used by Ukraine and Russia. And they've proven themselves and they've done a lot of damage to each other. Okay. What the West is giving, javelin and man pads and a few things, only itsy bitsy stuff they're giving to Ukraine. But they're not giving any heavy stuff. So they fought mostly with Russian origin equipment only. Right? It is. Yeah, we have a problem to the extent that with the with the level of fighting which has gone on, Ukraine has suffered a lot of damage. Their defense industry has suffered a lot of damage. And we still get items from their defense industry. For example, the Zoria gas turbine plant and their factory is where we got our gas turbines for our ships. We used to buy gas turbines from Ukraine and give it to Russia when we ordered ships from Russia. Then a lot of spares we used to get from Ukraine and Russia. And the Antonov's AN series of aircraft which we used to get spares from Ukraine and Russia. So that will get hit. Plus the fact that our dependence on Russia has put us on a diplomatic and geopolitical tightrope. We are too dependent on Russia that we have to reduce, and I think there is a uh, realization about this, and people have already started working. Why have they started working, and why it will happen? There is a For all the Russian equipment we have a certain level of spares. For some for 1 year, some for 2 years, some for 3 years spares, depending on the importance of that spare or the sub assembly or part and all that. Now all that is under threat today because we don't know whether we'll get anything from Russia and Ukraine. Already, a lot of people are making effort to get import substitutions, get local thing. Once you get the local item in place, and something happens in the next 1 or 2 years, automatically our dependence on Russia will go down. Today, I don't have, this shirt is from Russia. When this goes, I have to get another shirt, right? So either I wait for Russia to give me, and if I don't know where Russia is, I should make my own shirt. As simple as that. I have time till the shirt wears off. So that effort has started. I can watch for it. This is something I can watch for. Yeah.
SRDR wants to know, is Russia indeed a junior partner of China?
Well, whether it's a junior partner or a senior partner is irrelevant because it's a partner. First. And one has to, I think this bit we have to be very clear. This junior and senior partner is not of economy alone. Remember, Russia is a self-sufficient nation. It is an exporter of food grains, it is an exporter of energy, it is an exporter of technology. It has got a vibrant space program. It has got a fantastic atomic energy program. It has got tremendous software or capability. Okay. It has got the biggest territory. Right? It is surplus of everything. China has got great population which is aging. It doesn't have technology the way it relies on outside technology. Incidentally, it relies on Russian and Ukrainian technology. That's a thing which they have to solve. They have now gone against Ukraine. It is energy and resource deficient. Right? The only thing which China has is that it's a trading economy and it's got a lot of money. But that money, where is it going now? If that economy is going to slump, which it's going to happen, it's going to happen because as it is because of structural issues, their economy had started cooling down. Now there's targeted decoupling taking place. If you saw the outcome of the recent EU and Chinese summit, which happened 2 days back, right? The signals coming from that are, someone said, look, there was a deafness in this meet. No one was prepared to listen what the other person was saying. So the outcomes are not great. If Chinese decoupling from China, which I had predicted 2 years back, if it happens 20% in the next 5 years, okay, China's economy is going to be in a big slump. So I don't know who's going to be the junior partner for what. So it doesn't matter in any case. If they strike a deal between the two, they're going to be a formidable axis.
Sukesh Chadda wants to know, has India got to do a lot of catching up as far as armed drone technology is concerned?
Yes, I agree. We have a lot to do. This thing, I don't think I'd like to elaborate more than that.
Mandar Karnik wants to know, the foreign defense experts have said BrahMos misfire over Pakistan has possibly silenced Pakistani designs. Your thoughts?
I mean, no. Look, it has happened by mistake. So, I mean, we can spin any story out of that, but we can draw our inferences. Yeah.
Darwinian Chimp wants to know, Mr. Shankar, why is the Army's pedagogical medium English when majority of our recruits come from rural background?
Yeah. Firstly, I'm not Mr. Shankar. I'm General Shankar. Okay.
Yes.
Let me put it across to you. A general never retires. The human being retires. The rank never retires. And this is why a presidential order or this thing. Okay, I'm a general till my death. I carry my salutations till my death. I carry my decorations till my death. That doesn't happen. Even if after I die, I'll still be General Shankar, PVSM, ABSM, VSM retired. Right. So let's get that clear. And this is the thing which is given to no one else. Okay. This is look. I'm not the only one. There's so many generals in the Indian Army, and all over the world they get the same status. Okay. We have to understand that our medium is not English. Incidentally, I speak very rarely. I used to speak very rarely in English when I was with men. Okay. So we used to speak in Hindi and in their language. It is just that our medium of instruction in India is English, generally. We have a British heritage. We have to be internationally on the same wavelength with many armies and nations. So English has continued, right? Our origins of the officer class generally is from the upper strata, where English is the spoken language, like I'm speaking now. अगर आप चाहते हैं तो हम शुद्ध हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं, वार्तालाप कर सकते हैं, ऐसी कोई कठिनाई नहीं है. पर क्योंकि ये CIR साहब का इंग्लिश चैनल है, आई विल स्पीक इन इंग्लिश and you're listening in English, right? So that's how it is.
Sir, Vartalap, I haven't heard that in a long time. Thank you, sir.
No, we look, we are taught to speak in Shuddh Hindi.
Next question from C. Satya. General, do you think there is a secret alliance between China and Russia? What is the impact of Ukraine war on the effectiveness of Russian tanks that India possesses?
Look, there's no secret alliance between China and Russia.
It's an open alliance.
They very clearly said it's a no-limit alliance.
Yeah.
So there is an alliance. So what is on the effectiveness of Russian tanks? No, there's no difference. Whatever they've used, and whatever we are there, it's the same tanks we'll use them. But the tanks are tailored to our conditions, so not a problem, right? So there's no impact. Only thing is the way Russia has used the tanks in Ukraine has been conditioned by the weather and terrain conditions. We'll have to factor that in, that we don't get caught in that kind of a situation. And let me tell you, we are practiced enough not to do that.
Mahendra wants to know, when will there be a new CDS?
Correct. Yeah, so do I want to know. I have written an article on this. You please go to www.ganashot. I have the www.ganashot.com. You will see an article said the case of the curious case of the missing CDS. Have a look at it. I'm also asking the government the same question. When is the CDS going to come in?
Chaos Carnage wants to know, Russia has mentioned that abstaining from voting in General Assembly on removing Russia from UNHRC would not be considered as a friendly step. What should India do in the opinion of the general?
Let's see. Let that thing come. I don't think why should this is what shall I say, speculation to a large extent. So I'll give it a pass.
Yeah, and to add on to what the general said, PGurus was one of the first channels to pick up this duality in terms of interpretation, that UN recognized the USSR as a permanent member of Security Council, not the Russian Federation.
Sure.
There is a miss there that we were the first ones to point it out, and now everybody's talking about it, including in the United States. So there is some value in coming to PGurus as well. Yeah. I'm trying to pitch my own channel here. Sasanka Varanasi wants to know, General, what is the reason there is no standardization of equipment in the army, even for the infantry? There are 3 or 4 caliber of bullets used. Does this pose a challenge in gaining economies of scale?
Not really, because our army is huge, and 3 to 4 caliber is not a this thing. But you see, let's be very clear. There are only fundamentally two: 5.56 and 7.62 for rifles and LMGs and all that. There are certain calibers for certain specialized weapon in small number. That is a different thing. And of course, you have the 9 for close quarter combat. So it's basically three. Not a big deal. Our army is 12 lakhs plus Indian Air Force, Indian Navy, BSF, all the CAPFs also use the same. So we have a lot of scale. It's a huge system. Don't worry. We get economy of scale. The fundamental thing is we don't lose on it.
I think that's about all the questions that we had for today. Thank you very much, General Ravi Shankar. And as always, viewers, do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. In fact, as soon as you start watching any program of ours, please click on the like button. It will help you. Trust me, this is really helping us to gain more subscribers faster. So please do help us with that. And also don't forget to click on the bell button for notification. General Ravi Shankar, always a pleasure to have you. Listen to you, sir, and share your thoughts. You have done a lot of stuff. By the way, viewers, you should take a look at the BrahMos talk that General gave on PGurus platform. It's very, very important because he you have to be able to connect between the dots. Okay, we are not going to say everything out there. You can connect between the dots, and then the misfired missile, and then the quietness on China. Everything is connected. So this is how I see it. Thank you very much, General Ravi Shankar.
Oh, welcome, sir. Namaskar. Thank you.